I brought you here not because this building is a really special one. In fact, it's like average Polissia house. Of course, very particular, but average. You see, the other one is the same, and you take any other, they are the same. Only thing that this was built maximum right after Second World War, right? So it's one of the oldest here. Step closer, please. Step closer. Before I explain you this and what is happening inside, allow me to give you understanding of what was happening next to their doors in '86, right? You know it from HBO that they built 4 units and started building 2 more. Then the notorious unit number 4 explodes. But should have they finished those 2, Chernobyl power plant would have 6 units, biggest in Europe nuclear power plant. And that was not the overall plan. Overall plan was twice as daring, 12 units, 16 megawatts, biggest in the world nuclear power plant. Them living like this, no central heating, no central sewage. And next to them, Empire builds biggest in the world nuclear power plant. You remember toilet paper factory and explosion? Yeah. The same. And they were still going on like that. But then you are really surprised. If that was supposed to become the biggest nuclear power plant in the world, why they were building it here on the western border of USSR? If all of the industry was located here, 22% of them was Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic. Why here? Why not in the center? Remember, one of outcomes of Second World War was that territories between western border of USSR and Berlin Wall were communist puppet regimes. Right? They percepted half of Europe as their own. And they were about to wire all of their industries from there. I suspect, no one knows. And also, look, another thought. The biggest in the world power plant, right? 16 megawatts. And by the way, nuclear power is the cheapest one, right? Moreover, that they elaborated their own design. Реактор большой мощности, канальная 1000. High energy channel reactor 1000, where 1000 stands for 1 megawatt. Such a big source of energy next to Europe. Until today, Europe is dependent on Russian gas. Am I right? Yeah. Yeah. Definitely, right? Yeah. What is gas? Energy. What is energy? Blood of economy. So today, to conquer a nation, you don't need to shell it or to bomb it. No. You just take over its energy source and put the economy in your pocket and rule the nation. They were about to deliver second irresistible energy drug. Cheapest ever nuclear energy with a price that no one could beat. What a mean strategy. More. Then you ask yourself, why RBMK? When people, like, when I ask tourists, have you ever asked yourself why RBMK? They say, yes, I went to Wikipedia and I read it there, that it was cheap. Hold on a second. I know another particular thing about this reactor, which overshades all of economy. It has side product, very particular one, armor plutonium. These were factories for production of armor plutonium, nukes, nuclear warheads. Nuclear warheads for proxies. Energy drug for Western Europe. A mean strategy. Now you understand that Chernobyl is our savior. With this horrific price and prices that your nation, another nation paid, we avoided outcome of Cold War, which was not predictable without Chernobyl. It was not that clear. And these people, they paid the highest price. Look how they met this here. A small cabin of pine. Pine that they took from next forest here. There is only one room inside, the living room, that they were calling Svitlitsa, from word svitlo, light. And it was full of light always, because on Easter they would paint it with lime or chalk. So when you enter there, and there are these living creatures, as I call them, still alive, where there is a mistress of the house or master, when you enter, you go like this. Because it's blinding white. And there is only one colorful stain in the sacred corner, which they were calling from pagan times pokuting. Before, they used to keep their symbols of powers of nature, and when they became Orthodox 1,000 years ago, they put their icon. But not icon itself. They added their pagan ritual tower, Rushnyk. When we enter, you will see it. Svitlitsa. And you see, it's really tiny. Why? With global warming last year, we had the lowest temperature here, -16. back when this was built, average was -22. This for us, for Belarus and Ukrainians, it's like analog of Siberia, northern and cold forest, something like that. So you have no central heating. If you make it big, and you will have no time for your wife and children if you ever have any children, because you're chopping firewood all the time. Yeah. So for the very same reason, they kept their cow inside here, because this huge mammal during winter period would contribute heat and save father from chopping firewood and let him hug his wife. You see, we have a fancy word for that lifestyle today. How we call it? Eco-friendly. Right? You laugh. They would also laugh. They never knew any other way.
No.
This was their way of life.
Yeah.
Taking from nature as much as you need and not harming it. Let's step inside and have a better look. Watch your hat, please. Добрий день, хазяїн. Дозволь мені зайти. Я не скривджу тебе. Дякую, вибач. Я не прийшов грабити тебе. Я просто прийшов показати людям, як ти вмер. In many of their houses, they still, believe me, this is my experience from visiting remote villages, right? In many of their houses, you can still find this. This is of linen. And you can find the spinning wheel. Most of the, how you call this space between, below roof? Loft. In lofts, they have spinning wheels and this. And they have stupa to grind grain and bake their bread. They were breaking bread in '86 here. Look, they were using coal irons like this next to the doors. Empire was building the biggest in the world nuclear power plant meant to conquer Europe.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Wow.
Next time you need your trousers on for work, Samuel.
Look. This is the sacred corner. This is Pokuting. You see there is an empty space here.
Yeah.
1,000 years Orthodox. They already had tradition to pass from generation to generation family icon. Richly decorated, the most precious thing in their house. And this is hook for oil lamp to lit faces of holy. But you see, irony. Looters took everything from here. Everything of even 1 cent value is gone. But this precious thing is here. If you ask me what is like worth most money here on black market, this. But you have to read books. You have to have brains here. Luckily, they are stupid. So this is ritual towel, and this is amalgamation of pagan culture and Orthodox culture. Pagan culture here 7,000 years. This only 1,000 years. And you see, those ancient Slavic tribes, they left us legacy of 26 particular patterns of this knitting. In their time, it used to be pictographic writing, history of family, flowers representing daughters, branches representing sons. And if you take pattern of Kiev region, you'll be surprised, stricken by this difference with this. We have there only 2 colors, red and black, and a lot of narrow geometrical lines. Look at these fluctuating lines, universe of colors. They were people of trees. Now, how many lived here, right? It's really curious. We will not take into account this sofa. It was put like that by our opposites, stalkers, illegal visitors of the zone. But we will count this bed and that one. So they were a couple. There was a husband and a wife. Next thing, did they have children? When you ask a question like that in Svetlica, always look upwards. On one of central pillars, you will see a massive nail. If there were children. Yeah. Yes, they had children, because this nail is for cradle, far enough from smoke, but close enough to heat. So they were at least 3. They were at least 3 here. They used this stove, which they were calling peach, to bake their bread and to heat this promising winter. And they used this to cook in summertime and to eliminate humidity in summertime. They were calling this one hrubka. He had skis, right? He had skis. I know that he was using them also to go fishing. It's just because I am a fisherman that when I saw this I realized the whole story behind it. Yeah. Look, he had a salary between 10-15 rubles. He could not buy this ice fishing tackle industrial made. He had to craft it. Yeah. But scale of it indicates to me that his prey was between 10 and 15 kilos. Because today I use the same industrial analog, and I take this scale and I take them all 2-3 kilos fish. He was catching fish of 10. Yes, big fish. If you take map of this area, you will see that this cabin is roughly half an hour skiing from a bay of Pripyat River. So he would disappear in winter time for a while, for 2-3 hours, and be back with fish big as this. Given number of his family, that was enough for a whole week, for free. And this, I love this, I love this. You see, this calendar, it used to be over there. It's 1983, and you will be surprised to see that that calendar is in English language, you see?
Oh yeah, okay.
Why? That was perestroika, those were perestroika times, and relationship between East and West got milder, and English became trendy. I still remember it. Those were days when a can of Pepsi was a treasure. Wow. Anyway, most interesting for me is this picture. We passed this road this morning when we came by descent, Volodymyrsky descent from pickup point, and the first we drove here alongside of Dnipro. You remember? Yeah. This is Podil, the lowland. Only thing that it is in 1983. But the most interesting is this foiling ship. Somewhere out of frame over here, we left river port. Apparently, this ship is not making U-turn to go down current, right? It's going up current to pass through hydroelectric dam in Vyshgorod, through Sluch Gate, and to reach its port. There was only one port north from Kiev to have fleet of these futuristic ships. Its name was Pripyat. This ship is going to Pripyat. They had 6 of them, 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon. Every day of those 3, 2 would go to Kiev, 1 to Belarus town of Mozyr, up current Pripyat. Incredible. It's a picture of a ship going to Pripyat 3 years into the blast.
Yeah.
And before we go from here, I want to give you a quick quiz. You Westerners, what is this? What did they use it for?
Cattle?
Wrong. Come on, millennials, come on. Hey, no.
Pinning the wife up against the wall?
It was actually the opposite.
No way.
Yes, because Ukrainian women are very emancipated. Secondary use of this thing was to ward off drunken husband in the evening. Yes, that's true. But that was secondary use. What was it primarily used?
Bread?
Come on, it's not that hard. It's not that hard.
Oh, wow.
In some houses, when you go to remote villages, you find up to 9 of them in different scales, which depended on pottery sizes. 86, they were baking bread here and cooking their borscht here with no electricity. They even didn't have, most of them didn't have fridges because they would use a small dungeon outdoor. By the way, this stove is, no, that one is for sewage. But another way, I can show you here, close to it, but look, this is essential element, crucial element for borscht. You cannot cook real borscht without this thing, without stove. How? Because we were agricultural, right? Most of our time there. And mother didn't have that much time to cook for her family. So in the morning, when everybody is going through his or her morning routine, father puts here a little bit of firewood, lets it totally burn off. When there's no fire, no glow, mother steps in. She takes a big jar, the one that you will see outside here lying. She chops a lot of beetroot, some vegetables, and adds 1 or maximum 2 glasses of water. She doesn't need that water because this thing must not boil. That is the secret of borscht. It never boils. Then she puts it inside, grabs children, and goes for work. In 2 hours while she is away, this stove will be only gradually losing heat that it absorbed. And that will be not enough to boil it, but that will be perfectly enough to do the magic, to drive out juices from those vegetables and to render authentic sweetness of borscht, which is nowadays being faked in restaurants when they boil it on gas stoves and cheat with sugar. This was their way of life. And at this point we are going back to our one. They were patriarchic society. And the most important in each family was the oldest man. They were calling him Хозяин. We must thank this Хозяин for being so hospitable to us. Watch your head, please. And takeaway of this side, with your permission. Each side has its takeaway. Takeaway of this side. look at these barred windows. There was a day when chemical troops officer came here, and he talked to Хозяин. He said to Хозяин about invisible enemy, about ionizing radiation, radionuclides, how dangerous it is, that he must take away his family, his children, that he must leave his cow here forever. Хозяин listened to him, promised to leave, and when that military left, he barred the windows. He didn't believe. He thought that he will return. This is how humble they were. This is how far they were from those ambitions, you see. They were living on different planet. Right? They didn't need this second energy drug to Europe. They didn't need world dominance and nuclear weapons. They were perfectly fine in this paradise. And they fell victims of ambitions of distant empire.